Beginning with the end in mind, we're going to be making these cool tropical birds. When you begin this project and you've got your clay, I want you to take it and start out by making a thick coil. Curve that clay into a bird shape. When you start that bird shape, you'll notice some cracks or some bends, or I want you to just take a little bit of water to smooth that out, to make that bird shape as a little bit smoother than what you've got. Be careful not to add too much water because you'll end up having a really big problem with the amount of water. So when you do add water, just one finger, smooth it out. You can always add more, but it's really hard to take the water out. So just, again, starting with a little bit, don't add too much. Smooth that water into the clay. Once you've got your bird shape, then I want you to start thinking about the face or the eyes for your bird. Once you've got the beginning, I'm going to start off by taking 2 small balls of clay. Once I've got my balls of clay made, I'm going to attach it to both sides of my bird. This is a little bit of slip. It's watered down clay that I'm using to attach or put my pieces together. I like to take my Q-tip or my toothpick rather to make those eyes look a little bit more realistic. I'm noticing that I'm taking any of the clay tools that I have available and just designing and making the eyes however I want to make them look as realistic as possible. It's 3-dimensional, keeping it on both sides, and I'll set that aside as I begin working on the beak. You can make a long beak like I'm doing right here. Draw it out before you cut it. If you make a mistake, you can always fold it back up or try again. This is a nice long beak that I can use for my bird, or I could make some of my clay more like a U shape, and from that U shape, this might give me a little bit more of a parrot shape of a beak. So you decide if you want a long beak or if you want one of the shorter beaks. And attach this on the same way that you did with the eyes. A little bit of slip, a little bit of water, crisscross, attach those together. Once I've attached the beak onto the body of the bird, I'm going to make a coil to really seal the deal or add just a little bit more of a separation between the beak and the body. Make that coil to go all the way around the beak and the body, smoothing out any extra pieces that you've got. I'm going to slow it down just a little bit so I can show you how to make the wings or the arms of your bird. I'm going to begin with some clay. As I've got my clay, I'm going to begin by drawing out and cutting this in half. This will give me a nice shape that I can use for the wings of my bird. As I set that on there, I can decide which way that I want those bird arms to go. You can either smooth out some of the cracks with your water, or like I am, I'm taking my tool and I'm just going to cut the extra shapes that I don't want on there. I'll take a drawing tool and I can also draw on any kind of features or decoration or designs onto the wing of the bird. I want them to be about the same size, just like when I started thinking about the eyes of my bird. I want them to be about the same size. I'm going to take this shape and again, smooth out the edges and attach that onto my bird body. What a great start working on making your toucan or your tropical bird for this project. Once I've got the wings put onto the project, I've got the eyes done, the beak done, the body of the bird, I'm pretty much finished with the bird. So we'll go ahead and attach these together and add that on. And then I'm going to start thinking about my base, and I think about the bird. I'm going to be using my craft sticks to make for the bird's legs. But then I need a base, a thick chunk of clay that I can use as a solid piece to hold the rest of my project that I'm making right now. So I'll go ahead and attach these on, set that aside, and then I'm going to begin working on my base. All right, let's go ahead and get started on the base of this project, what your bird is going to stand on and the feet of the project. So I'm just going to take some clay and I'm going to tap it in my hand and start making a flat, rounded I mean, just think about like a rock. You know, you're making this clay, it's air dry. I'm just gonna place this down, and I want this to be a thick enough of a base that it'll hold the bird that I just made. So again, I'm just, since it's the base and it's part of my project, I still want it to look good. I'm gonna go ahead and smooth out any cracks. Using some extra clay, I'm going to roll this kind of like a coil, like I did when I made the attachment from my beak onto my bird's body. And I'm going to attach on some of the legs, or the feet rather, the feet of this bird. So I'm going to do 3 pieces or 3 small coils. That is on one side of the base. And then I will add on another set of 3 coils on the opposite side of the base. Now, once I have this done, instead of leaving them as smooth coils, I'll take a craft stick and start making on a textured line that'll help make these look a little bit more like bird feet. So now that I've got these attached on, smoothed together, pressed down so that they're attached really well, I'll take that craft stick and start making the textures. It's kind of nice just pressing into the clay rather than drawing into the clay. Just taking this tool and pressing it in. Excellent. For another fun part of this project, right in the center of those is where I'm taking 2 craft sticks, placing those together like this for the legs of my tropical bird. Love the way that looks. Placing them deep enough into the project so that I know that it's sturdy. Now I'll place the bird and make sure that both of those craft sticks are fitting into the body of the bird and nestling and pressing down so that they're attached really, really well, and that it holds the support of the bird. Check that your bird's not leaning too heavy on one side and very light on the opposite. We don't really want it to tip over in the future once it's dried and all put together. So just kind of check that for your bird and make sure that it's nice and sturdy and well balanced. Right now I'm taking my little toothpick and putting my initials on there so I know that this is mine, Mrs. Foxen. And now I'm going to set that aside to dry. Voila! This is what it looks like. If you have any extra time today, go ahead and make any leaves or flowers or anything else tropical that might add to this project. Have fun, everybody!